Ever have that feeling? You're working harder than you ever have before, your company seems to be crushing it, but when you look at your paycheck, it just doesn't add up? If that sounds familiar, you might be going through something new, and today we're putting a name to it: the quiet demotion. It's the subtle, sneaky shift happening everywhere. So let's dig in and figure out what this whole quiet demotion thing is really about.
And it all kicks off with a story that, honestly, is becoming way too common. Meet Jessica. She's a marketing manager, and her words, they just cut right to the core of this issue, don't they? I'm willing to bet a lot of you out there are nodding along right now.
And look, Jessica's story, this isn't just some one-off complaint. Nope. Her experience is basically the perfect case study for this huge, kind of invisible shift that's rippling across white-collar jobs everywhere.
So what is this thing exactly? Let's just define it, plain and simple. A quiet demotion is what happens when your company rolls out all these new AI tools. Suddenly, you're way more productive, the company is making bank, but your workload, it's through the roof. And your paycheck, it's just stuck.
Okay, this timeline really lays it all out. 3 years ago, things were pretty normal for Jessica. A solid $74,000 salary, managing a team of 5. Then, boom, AI enters the picture. Fast forward to today, her team has been gutted. She's now personally doing the work that 6 people used to do, and her salary has barely moved. A $2,000 raise for what is basically triple the work and responsibility. It's just wild.
So what's going on here? Why is this happening? You know, it's easy to just blame one greedy company, but it's bigger than that. It's a whole system at play, a mechanism that our source material calls the productivity ratchet. So let's pull back the curtain and see how this invisible force actually works. And wow, this chart just says it all, doesn't it? The data is crystal clear. When companies bring in AI tools, worker productivity just explodes. We're talking an average jump of 37%. So you'd think, hey, my pay should go up too, right? Nope, not even close. Wages inch up by a tiny 1.4%. And that huge gap between those two numbers, that's everything. That's the whole story right there.
Yeah. Let's be super specific here. That 35.6% difference, that's the magic number. So where is all that extra value? The value you are creating, where's it going? Well, I can tell you where it's not going. Your bank account. It's getting vacuumed right up by the company as pure profit.
And let's bring it back to Jessica's world to see what this looks like in reality. For her company, this isn't just some number on a spreadsheet. By gutting her team and handing her some AI tools, they are saving a whopping $214,000 a year just from her department. And what does she get for shouldering all that extra work? A raise that, let's be real, gets eaten by inflation before it even hits her account.
And this is how you get trapped in this vicious cycle. It's called a productivity ratchet for a reason. Think about it. Every single time you find a way to be more efficient with AI, the reward isn't a break. No way. The reward is more work. It's like you're on a treadmill, and every time you start to run a little faster, someone just cranks up the speed.
Okay, so working harder for less money is bad enough. But honestly, that's not even the scariest part. There's a much more dangerous long-term problem brewing here. The actual value of your experience, the skills you spent years building, it's quietly being devalued right from under you.
Just look at this comparison. A senior employee, right? Let's say 12 years of experience. That used to be an unbeatable advantage. But now, you take a junior employee with just 2 years under their belt, give them some powerful AI, and suddenly they're producing work that's 85% as good. AI is basically an experience leveling machine, and it's making all those years of hard work, well, worth less.
And what happens when your experience is worth less? Your leverage in any negotiation absolutely tanks. I mean, think about it. A few years ago, if Jessica said she was quitting, that would have been a 5-alarm fire for her boss. Now, the company just shrugs, promotes that junior person, gives them the same AI tools, and they're pretty much good to go. You become easier to replace, and when that happens, your power to ask for more money just evaporates.
And you don't have to take my word for it, the numbers are already telling the story. In 2024, wage growth in jobs that are getting hit hard by AI, just a measly 1.1%. Now look at skilled trades. You know, jobs you can't really automate, like a plumber or an electrician.
Their wages grew by 4.2%. It's pretty wild when plumbers are getting bigger raises than software developers, but that's the world we're in. And this might be the most insidious part of all. Let's call it skills erosion. See, Jessica isn't spending her day crafting brilliant marketing copy from scratch anymore. She's prompting an AI and then editing what it spits out. She's become less of a creator and more of a reviewer. And over time, those core creative muscles, they start to atrophy. You get rusty. And that makes you even more dependent on the AI, and ironically, less valuable on your own.
Okay, I know this all sounds pretty bleak, right? But it's not hopeless, I promise. There is a way through this, but it requires a huge shift in how you think about your job. You have to stop being just the person who does things and start becoming the person who decides what things to do.
This right here breaks it down perfectly. You've got two paths. On one side, you have the executor. That's the person doing the work, checking off the tasks. That's the job that's being turned into a commodity by AI. But on the other side, you have the strategist. That's the person who decides what work needs to be done, and more importantly, why. They're the one using AI as a tool, as a lever, not as a replacement for their own thinking. That is where the value is now.
So the big question is, how do you become that strategist? Well, you focus on the stuff that humans are still way better at. 3 key areas. First, high-stakes decisions. The kind of calls where if you get it wrong, it's a disaster. AI can't take the blame for that. Second, deep relationships. Building real trust with clients and colleagues. AI can't automate that. And third, what we'll call creative synthesis. That's the magic of connecting totally unrelated ideas from different fields to create something brand new. AI is terrible at that.
Okay, let's get super practical. Enough with the theory. Here is a concrete 5-step plan you can start using literally today to shift your career and make yourself indispensable.
So it all comes down to this one single question you have to ask yourself right now. How do I get out of this trap? What is my path forward?
Here it is. Step 1. Audit your own job. Sit down and be brutally honest. What percentage of your day is just pure execution? Step 2. Document your strategic work. Stop just tracking tasks completed. Track the big picture wins you influenced. Step 3. Have a real conversation with your manager. Talk about your trajectory, where you want to go. Step 4. Get out of your silo. Build those real human connections with people on other teams. And finally, step 5. Shift your mindset. Stop just doing tasks and start designing systems that let others and AI do the tasks. You become the architect, not the bricklayer.
And let's wrap this up with the single most powerful idea from all this. The old playbook for career success, being the best, fastest person at doing the work, it's over. That's a dead end. AI can execute. Your job, your entire job, is now about strategy, about judgment, about human connection. You have to make a choice. Become cheap and replaceable, or become expensive and indispensable.